The high-grade G-Witch line returns with the Gundam Naion. Looking like the Legolas went to the gym and did some looks maxing, it is another P Bandai exclusive kit that is entirely new. Coming from the side story manga Witch from Mercury Vanadis Heart, it features an evil and menacing aesthetic with the signature G-Witch efficient engineering. And with that engineering comes a significant flaw to this otherwise amazing kit. Stay tuned to see why. Released in September 2025 in P Bandai for 3,300 yen, we have the high-grade Gundam Naion from Gundam Witch from Mercury Vanadis Heart. The box art of the model is the typical P Bandai monochromatic style, which is sort of a shame because I kinda like how this looks. I want to see it in color. Here is what it would look like in your backlog. Here's the bottom view and the top view, so nothing much shown here. Opening up the box, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bags of runners and the manual. Here is the front of the manual, and we actually get a colored version of the one in the box art without the lightning effects though. Here is the runner list. We don't have any unused parts, thankfully. Rest of the instructions are standard. This is the back of the manual. Feel free to pause and read because there's a lot of stuff to go over. For the runners, we have a total of 12 spanning 5 different colors. 11 of which are manufactured this year, 2025, all named Gundam Naion. Hopefully they at least improved upon the common G-Witch issues. The last runner is the standard SB9 runner for some beam effect parts. Then lastly, we have a small sheet of stickers for the sensors and the shell units, both active and inactive. And that's it for the contents. Let's build it up. For the build, let's begin with the head. The eyes and sensors require no stickers, though you are given metallic ones if you choose to cover them up, but they are fully part separated, which is very nice. It is a simple build, but you get great color separation with gray parts peeking out, like the vents and the Vulcans. Then it is finished off with a clear piece for the shell unit. We then have the torso, which is one of the more intricate parts of the build, especially for high grade. We get great color separation with the gold. It is used beautifully as highlights. You also get the nice shell unit with some stickers in the back. There's ab articulation gimmick along with the hatches to store the beam saber. Really impressive stuff for a high grade. Now for the arms. Honestly, nothing super notable to say, though a little warning, those little clear parts can fall off and disappear into the void if you don't place them correctly the first time. The arm is actually really simple in construction, being only 14 pieces each. It's basic, but considering the design, it does end up doing the job well. Next are the legs, which the construction of will be familiar if you build other Gundam Witch from Mercury Gundam types, which comes with its own pros and cons. If you aren't very familiar with these kits, they tend to use C-clip joints. These can be problematic on certain situations where a lot of stress can be applied, which will cause looseness to happen very easily. I'll get more into this in the articulation section, but notably, like several of the other Gundams from Witch from Mercury, the knee joints and ankle joints are C-clips unfortunately. However, I do want to commend how good these look overall, and now they kind of feel solid for now. Okay, for the waist, it's pretty bare bones waist as this kit has no front or side skirts. No gimmicks here also, but you do get slots for the real star of the show, which is the VAJRA, which are these giant rifles with 6 gun bits called a Rinko. This has the most parts in this model kit as you have to build 2 big rifles, the articulated arms for each of them, and another 3 gun bits per rifle. Despite that, it didn't feel tedious and was pretty enjoyable as the pieces were pretty big, great color separation, and the sculpt was beautiful. However, we do get C-clips again for the joints, which might be problematic, but otherwise, definitely the highlight of the build. Lastly, the accessories. Definitely not the focus of the mobile suit, but hey, the bayonet looks cool despite being just a couple pieces. So putting it all together, it's using that same type of fine build system that started with HG Leo that was adapted for the G-Witch kits. They usually focus on great aesthetics with minimal parts, really trying to min-max and be efficient, but it does end up using C-clips which might not hold over time. So let's see how it does when I pose it around for this review. But first, let's get it on the base. Okay, so this is the P Bandai High Grade Gundam Naion built out of the box according to the manual. Nothing else extra was done, just to show you guys how it would look without any modifications, and it still looks great. G-Witch kits are really good at adapting the anime/manga art into model kit form. That being said, let's discuss the model kit since. What I mean is the amount of seam lines, color inaccuracies, hollow parts, etc. Basically, anything that has to be fixed in order to look like the promotional images, and I'm happy to announce that this kit barely has any of them. Specifically, most of the seams around the kit are all designed to be panel lines or are shaped for the design. All except for these ones at the VAJRA and the gun bits. The seam lines and the gun bits are pretty easy to fix since they're just 3 pieces, and the one in the VAJRA could be a little bit tricky but still fixable with some skills and some creativity. Then for color accuracy, it's basically perfect. The only thing you gotta do is panelize it really. Then, no hollow parts, no notable mold lines. The only required stickers are for the shell units. Sadly, this is not the anime protagonist Gundam, so it won't get the pre-painted ones, but the stickers still look good enough. The eyes and the sensors in the head are color separated. One thing to mention though, the gold used in this model is the injection type, which don't look the best, especially on bigger pieces. So if you're bothered by it, maybe top it off with some paint. Overall, for a high grade, this kit is great in terms of aesthetics and it's definitely its strongest point. For size comparisons, this is an above average mobile suit in terms of height, being 19.7 meters tall in lore, which is around 13.6 centimeters tall in 1/144 scale. For reference, here's it next to the high grade G-Clocks, a standard 1/144 scale Gundam, the RX-78, and a 1/100 scale Gundam, the MG-RX-78. So in your shelf, this will have some nice presents, especially with those rifles. Here is what the HG9 Gundam comes with in terms of accessories. We don't get a lot here obviously since the main accessory is actually attached to it, but let's get to the ones here first. First, we get 3 hand options which attach via a ball joint, a holding hand for both arms, and an open hand for the left. Then we have 2 cute little beam saber handles and 2 types of beam effect parts, one short, one long. They just slot in very simply and slide onto the holding hand where it fits nice and snug, no issues here. To store them, we have a hatch on the traps. It's a bit tricky to place the handles in because it's so small. I suggest using some tweezers. Once you get them in, they're pretty secure. And then we have the alterable bayonet. The seam line is made as a panel line, so no need for fixing. It is alterable, so you can use either the short or long beam effect part. To hold it, you can actually use most of the things since it's the right size for the hands, though you also get an articulated handle which can either be used for a single grip or a double grip. Last but certainly not least, we have the VAJRA, which are these giant beam rifles. The gun bits, or what they call it, the rinko, have some articulation and can be removed to attach to any 3mm peg action base, though not included. They do recommend the Witch from Mercury ones, the Bandai ones of course. There is also an additional gimmick where the barrel of the VAJRA can sort of open up to shoot. Just be a bit careful not to stress the part because it is a bit tight. The handle for the VAJRA is articulated, which is essential to posing it as it just slots into the hand. Honestly, with the handle in the hand, posing the rifles are a bit limited. You can't really point it upwards too much, but in the promotional images and in the art, it actually doesn't need to use the handles at all to shoot with it, so you can just pose it more freely and it looks better that way in my opinion. Overall, the VAJRAs are really nice. I can definitely see this having a lot of kit bash potential, so they are really the main gimmick of this mobile suit. The rest of the accessories are pretty decent as well, despite being simplistic. Now for the articulation. It's good, but there are very key flaws, so let's get into it. The head is only single jointed with a ball at the neck. As previously mentioned, the hatches can open. Shoulder armor can move individually, 360 at the arm, 360 at the upper bicep. Surprisingly good sideward arm raise. The shoulder can also wiggle forward and back really well. Arm is only single jointed, so not the best. The ab crunch is great forwards and backwards. Decent side to side as well. Torso can rotate until it's blocked by the VAJRA. We don't have any front skirts, but we do have this crotch piece that can rotate at an axis. Thigh rotation is very good, no side skirts to block it. A really good forward kick as well as a really good backward kick. A more than perpendicular sideways leg raise. Double jointed knee bend with some nice armor separation gimmick. The ankle has no pivot at the base, but this part in the front can. It can rotate though both the heel and the toe quite well. You also get a great downward and upward bend for the foot. The gun bits at the VAJRA can sway side to side individually. The handle can swing at an axis. The arms for the VAJRA are on a ball joint with some C-clip hinges, and this is where the problem begins. I do want to mention that I just posed this kit a couple times and it's already getting pretty loose, and just take a look at this. The C-clip is already white with stress as well as the connector piece. This will only get worse over time because of how C-clips work. Let me tell you why C-clips are problematic. I will just use paint for brevity's sake. Basically, they are really prone to getting loose even if stressed slightly. But the worst part about C-clips is that, unlike pegs or ball joints, tightening them up requires way more effort. Traditionally, you just thicken it with super glue or paint, But if you do that to C-clips, it will just stress them more and will end up making them just as loose and maybe even break. Fixing them is more involved, such as you can enclose the joint with some plot plate, but a lot of people don't have the time for that. Hence why it sucks for most builders. And even people who are more experienced don't like it because it's just annoying. Especially for painters, because as you paint the joints, you're gonna tighten the C-clip, which makes it even more prone to stress, which will even make it more loose. So it's just an endless cycle. So for me, I'll just glue it after painting if I do decide to paint it. TLDR, C-clips suck. All in all, besides the Witch from Mercury signature C-clips, the articulation is good. But my main suggestion is find a pose that you like and keep it that way. Because the more you keep changing the pose, the more you're prone to making them loose. So treat this kit more like a model kit than a toy. Okay, let's summarize with my likes and dislikes. My first like is that the aesthetics are on point, which is the norm for these Gundam types from Witch from Mercury. Minimal seams, fully color accurate, besides the shell unit, no hollow parts, just good stuff. Then my first dislike, the VAJRA is awkward to pose. The articulation of the arm is a bit lacking, especially with the handle. Without the handle, it's much easier to pose though. Speaking of which, the VAJRA is my second like. These giant rifles are going to be amazing for kit bashes. They're feature-packed and full of nice gimmicks and detail. My second dislike, it's the big one, the C-clips. The ones on the mobile suit like the knee and the ankles, actually for now aren't causing me any problems. But the arm joints for the VAJRA are not very good. And I'm usually careful when posing it, but over time, due to the weight of the gun, it'll get loose no matter what. So I suggest just picking a singular pose and not really messing with it. And if you really don't want a headache, just glue it. And lastly, ending on a good note is my third like. The articulation of the mobile suit itself is really good. Besides the single jointed arm, the posability is great. I have no problems posing this how I want, for the mobile suit at least. You can definitely get good poses with this one. Time for the verdict. Is this kit a buy? Yes, I would buy this, assuming of course you can get it for SRP or slightly around that price because this is premium Bandai. Buy this, but be careful with the C-clips. If I wasn't doing any multiple poses for this review, I would have just stuck with one. And if you're gonna paint it, you should probably glue it in place once you have a final pose. This is not really a toy-like model kit, so treat it with more caution, but it does look great, and for me, that's the most important aspect. So, are you gonna buy this kit? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe if you found this helpful, and of course, thank you for your time. Bye!